A very good afternoon, students and sir. Wishing you a bright noon on this Tuesday afternoon. So welcome back to the third session for the day, that is accounts, the chapter is consignment. Once again, reminding you students, the students who have not registered for crash course, that is students other than the present batch, repeaters and all, you have to register yourself to access the classes after 2 days. So kindly do it within today. You can call the respective centers and get yourself registered. So kindly do it if you haven't done it yet. And one more reminder, there will be accounts doubt clearing session today at 8 p.m. The details is the login ID and password is same as for the present session. Again, we'll send you a message regarding that and you can attend the sessions. Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible and visible. Good afternoon. Is there an issue with something? Hello. Am I visible and audible now? Yes. All right. Is there a lag? I don't think there's a lag now. No lag, right? Okay. Okay. So we were discussing in the books of Consignee before we left for lunch, before we took a break for lunch, I was discussing about in the books of Consignee. Can we just close that discussion quickly? Okay. Now, first I discussed in the books of Consignor how many two major accounts, right? Major accounts in the books of Consignor, consignment account and consignee's account. In the books of Consignee, two major accounts. What are the two major accounts in the books of Consignee? Consignor's account and commission account. Consignor's account and commission account. Okay, now I was discussing about, I told you now this consignor's account is more like a liability account for the consignee, because he has to pay the amount, net amount at the end of all these transactions. The consignee will have an obligation to pay money towards the consignor. So it's more like a liability account. So you are going to have a transactions. Discuss about the commission. Just for lunch break, I was discussing about the commission part. Good afternoon, guys. Okay, the commission part we were discussing. Special kind of commission which is going to affect our impact, have an impact over our books of accounts or entries also. What is that special commission we were discussing? Del credit commission. What is del credit commission? Why is it paid? We have had a discussion about this. But just to sum it up, del credit commission, when del credit commission is paid, the difference between no del credit commission and del credit commission is, bad debt loss, if the del credit commission is paid, will have to be incurred by whom? If del credit commission is paid, whose loss is the bad debt loss? The loss is the consignee's loss. If debt collector commission is not paid, whose loss is debt collector commission? It is consignor's loss. Now, coming back to our discussion, let's look at how the accounts are impacted because of this. Till here, did you understand? We have recorded three things over here, that is sales, two types of sales, cash sales and credit sales. On the credit side, we have recorded both the kind of sales because this is an income not of mine, it is an income of the consignor. So we are going to credit his account with both cash sale and credit sale on the credit side of the ledger account of the consignor. And on the debit side, as you can see, we have written the expense that we have paid on behalf of the consignor. On behalf of the consignee will pay some expenses, right? And he receives the goods, or then to store the goods, to sell the goods, all expenses he will incur. So that is consignee's expenses. So that you see on the debit side. Then you also see commission on the debit side. This is my commission. This is my commission income. I am the consignee. This is my income. So I will credit the commission account for the extent of that amount receivable from the consignor. So I hope you have understood so much. Now continuing our discussion about the bad debts, the bad debt and the debt collector commission point. So please pay attention. I know you've had your lunch. I know you are full, and if someone gives you a pillow, you will sleep, and nicely you will get a good nap, I'm sure. But let's let's show some energy over here, and let's get done with this. Okay. Now listen. What is the entry for bad debt? First, when I sold the goods, what is the entry for sales? Credit sales. What is the entry for credit sales I passed? Can someone tell me what is the entry for credit sales? Consignee is passing an entry. In the case of credit sales, what is that entry? Consignment debtor account debit to consignor's account, right? This entry we had passed. Consignment debtor because I have a right to receive that money, but that is not my money. That is why we are crediting the consignor's account. Now, when there is bad debt, ordinarily, what is the entry passed for bad debts? You had to record bad debts, right? To record bad debts, what is the journal entries ordinarily passed? The journal entry is bad debts account debit to consignment debtor. Yes or no? Bad debts account debit to consignment debtor's account. Okay. Now, instead of debiting, you can debit bad debts, you can move it through the bad debts also, or else what you can do is you can debit directly the respective accounts. I'll tell you which account to debit. Now, can you tell me if debt credit commission is not paid? If debt credit commission is not paid, whose expense is bad debt? Is it my expense, the consignee's expense, or is it the consignor's expense? It is the consignor's expense. When you sold goods, let's say to one party you sold goods 500 rupees, like this you passed an entry, consignment debtor account debit to consignor's account 500. Now you have not been paid debt collector commission. So what are you going to do? Are you going to pay this 500 rupees to the consignor? You had credited consignor. You said there was a liability to pay to the consignor, but it's a bad debt. Are you going to pay the 500 rupees to him? Are you going to pay 500 rupees to the consignor? No, you're not going to pay to the consignor. Why are you not going to pay to the consignor? Because it is not your risk. It is not your loss. It is his loss. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What should we do over here? Earlier you said there was 500 rupees I had to pay to the consignor. Now you will say, no sir, I don't have to pay it. I will reverse that earlier entry. And debtors also used to be closed because he's not going to pay you money anymore. Because it is a bad debt, so you can't keep debtors open. So consignor's account debit, consignment debtors account. You don't say it's consignor's account because it is not your loss. Have you followed this? Have you followed this? To understand, for understanding purposes, you can also pass it through bad debts. You can write like this: bad debts account debit to consignment debtors, and then transfer the amount of bad debts to the consignor's account. But you can directly pass this entry. The direct entry for this is consignor's account debit to consignment debtors account. I hope you have understood this. This is for bad debts. When is this recorded? When DCC is not paid or paid. When DCC is not paid. When DCC is not paid, we record this entry. So over here also, now look at the consignor's account. What should I do to the consignor's account? Debit or credit consignor's account? What should I do with the consignor's account? I have to debit the consignor's account to consignment debtor's account. This will appear only if bad debts, if DCC is not paid. Sir, what if DCC is paid? What if DCC is paid? Will this entry come? This entry won't come. This entry won't come. Then how will we write off the debtor? The debtors is to be written off. No, it doesn't matter if DCC is paid or not to write off the debtor. The debtor is not going to pay you money. He's become insolvent. He doesn't have money. So you have to close the debtor account. Are you all following? You have to close the debtor account. But can you transfer the loss of bad debts to the consignor if you are getting debt commission? No, you can't transfer the loss of bad debts to the consignor if you are getting paid the debt commission. Whose loss is it if DCC is being paid? Whose loss is it? Can you tell me whose loss is it if DCC is being paid? It is consignee's loss. It is my loss. It is my expenses. So what we do is, again, you can stream it to bad debts account or you can pass a direct entry. What is the entry to write off? This is if DCC is not paid. If DCC is paid, what entry we pass is commission account is debited to consignment debtors. So why are you debiting the commission account? I'll talk about it. We're debiting the consignment commission account because you are not going to this extent your income is lesser now because he's paying you that commission, that additional commission, because you had to bear the debtors also loss. Now because of this consignment business, you have actually reduction in income for you because you have to lose that you have to lose that bad debts. Now there is when you sold the goods to him, you passed consignment debtor to consignor's account. Please pay attention everyone. When you sold goods on credit to that party, you said consignment debtor's account debit to consignor's account. You passed this entry. You credited. You said you have to pay. You have an obligation to pay towards the consignor 500 rupees. This is what you did when you passed that entry for credit sale. Now, when there is bad debt, can you reduce the income payable to the consignor? Can you reduce the amount payable to the consignor? Can you reduce it? The answer is no. You can't reduce it. Why can't you reduce it? You can't reduce it because you can't reduce it because we have got additional compensation for taking this risk. It is our risk. It is our loss. So that is why you can't reduce the amount payable to the consignor. So you can't debit the consignor to the extent of these bad debts if debt commission is paid. Rather, we bear it for ourselves. We can directly debit the commission account because commission account you have written the income. Whatever income was receivable, you wrote it over here. So if debt commission is being paid, you will write it over here itself, consignment debtors. This is towards bad debt if DCC is paid. So when you do this in the commission account, what will be left is what is left in commission account? Only the net commission. After deducting such bad debt amount, the net commission, the net income because of consignment business will be left in the commission account. So that is the importance of debiting the bad debts in the commission account. I hope everyone has followed this. So what if the total commission is less than the bad debts? That is a question. Sir, what if the commission, let's say bad debts is 20,000 rupees and I got only 10,000 rupees commission. 10,000 rupees is lost for you. It is lost for you. How do you close this commission account? Can you tell me how do you close this commission account? It's a nominal account. Where do you transfer the nominal account? You transfer it to your profit and loss. So generally, what balance will be there in this account? Generally, the bad debt amount will not be more than the commission most of the times, right? It will have credit balance, so you will transfer it to P&L account. You will transfer this to profit and loss account, credit side. Sir, what if it is bad debts loss? I mean, bad debts is more than the commission. If the debit is more than the commission, then it's a loss. You will transfer it to profit and loss account. By profit and loss account, you will write here, which is not the case ordinarily. It is not the case ordinarily. What if the bad debt is recovered in this case? Bad debt recovered. Who's going to keep the money? Is it the consignor or the consignee? Obviously, the consignee will keep the bad debt recovered. What if it is in the case of debt commission not paid? Can the consignee keep that money to himself? No, he has to transfer that money to the consignor. So whatever the entry is, cash account debit to consignor's account is the entry passed over there. In this case, you pass cash account debit to bad debts recovered account. You can pass an entry. Anyway, that is not there. That won't come. But I just explained. Someone asked me, so I just explained it. I hope you have followed these accounts. These are the consignment account, consignee's account, and consignor's account. And also we drew up the commission account. Okay. Shall we go to the questions now? Oh, before I go to the question, I think we can go to the question, this one. Yeah, we'll go to the question. I'll discuss about abnormal loss later on. Now, sir, what if the bills of exchange is involved and all that? Can you tell me the entry for bills of exchange? That is not actually part of this. You should know the bills of exchange entries from the bills of exchange chapter, right? Sometimes what the consignee does is he doesn't give cash to close these accounts, right? Okay, we did not discuss about closure of these accounts. Now look at this. This is in the books of consignee. Sorry, in the books of consignor. This is in the books of consignor. Now, can you tell me, in the books of consignor, we are talking about the consignor, the principal, the person who's sending the goods. Consignee's account will have dash balance, debit balance or credit balance. Has the consignor got a right to receive the money, or will he have an obligation to pay to the consignee? What will be there? He will have the right to receive the money. That means what will be the balance? What will be the balance? The debit balance. The nature of the balance will be debit balance. It will be an asset account. Now, if he is paying in cash, we will say by bank. If he is paying, giving a bills receivable, you will say by bills receivable. The entry is, if he is giving cash or bank, it is cash account debit, bank account debit to the consignee's account. Your asset is going down, that is why you credit the consignee, and bank or cash is an asset which is going up, that is why you're debiting the bank or cash account. If he's giving you a bills receivable, it will be bills receivable account debit to consignee's account. Will this appear in the consignment account? No, it will not appear in the consignment account. This is the journal entry for it. So why will it appear in the consignment account? It is neither an income nor a loss. It is not a expense or an income for the business. It's just settlement of accounts. It is just settling accounts. So why should it come in the consignment account? It is just settlement of accounts. Okay. Just like when you receive cash for sales, do you record cash account in the profit and loss account? No, right? Cash is just an asset for settlement. It is a medium for settlement. It will not come over here. You record sales over in the consignment account. So the journal entries, understand these journal entries. These are something that you already know. If someone is paying you cash, the entry is bank or cash account to consignees to party account. If someone is paying you a bills receivable, giving you a bills receivable, it is bills receivable account debit to that party account. Here it is a consignee. So it will not come in the consignment. Sir, what if he pays advance? Sometimes what happens is these consignors will say that the consignee has to pay some amount in advance. When I'm sending goods itself, you have to pay some amount. The consignor might tell the consignee. So in such cases, again, this entry is passed. Cash account debit to consignee's account, or bills receivable if he is accepting a bill, bills receivable to consignee's account. So what is the entry when the bill is accepted? When the bill is accepted, what is the entry? sorry, when the bill is honored. Bill is accepted, this is the entry. What is the entry when the bill is honored? On the due date, the consignee will honor the bill, right? What is the journal entry for honoring a bill? Bank or cash to bills receivable account. Bank or cash to bills receivable account. Will this come in the consignee's account? No, this will not come in the consignee's account. This is a separate entry. It will not come in the consignee's account. I hope you have followed this. This is about the entries for bills receivable settlement. So now at the end, whatever balance is left, he will pay through bank. This is the entry, or through bills receivable, or through cash. This is the balance which he will have to pay. So what if he doesn't settle? What if there's still some balance after at the end? Then you will write by balance carried down. By balance carried down. Is it an asset or liability for you? It is an asset for you. Okay. Similarly, in the consignee's books also for settlement. Now tell me, consignor's account will ordinarily have dash balance. Consignor's account will have, is it an asset or is it a liability? It is a liability, because here the consignee will have to pay the consignor the net amount. The sales amount will be more than the expenses. This is sales. Whatever you have received on his behalf, you write it over here. So the sales amount will be more than the amount. This both is sales. We call this total is gross sales. This is the sales amount is written on the credit side. Okay, this is gross sales. And on the debit side, what have we written? We have written expenses and commission. Expenses and commission. Sir, if he is paying del credit commission, if he's not paying del credit commission, I will minus the bad debts. If he is paying del credit commission, I will not debit it. I will give the net amount to him. So this will appear only when del credit commission is not paid. This is a minus from what I have to pay. So it will appear only when del credit commission is paid. I hope everyone is clear on this. So here also, when I am paying, let us say, to bank account, when I'm paying through bank, or if I'm accepting a bill, what is it for me? I'm accepting a bill. It's a liability for me. It's a bills payable for me. It will appear over here like this. Bills payable. So bank or cash or bills payable account will be written over here. So that is how you close these entries. Any question? Did I miss any question that you asked in the chat box? I saw a couple of questions. I did not read them. Please repost those questions if I did not answer your doubt yet. Okay. Now I will just talk about two more things before I go to the problems. I'll do it over here only. Please pay attention. Very important for our exams again. Valuation of abnormal loss. Valuation of abnormal loss. I'll categorize. Yes, Akshay. I'll categorize abnormal loss into two types. One is loss in transit. Loss in transit. One type is loss in transit. And the second type is loss in the go down of the consignee. That is, in the consignee's go down. Sir, whose loss is it? In both the cases, whose loss is it? It is always the consignor's loss. It is always the consignor's loss. Now we are talking about valuation of this loss. Okay, we are talking about the valuation of this loss. Loss in transit means what? When you're moving the goods, when you're transporting the goods, there could be loss in transit. That is what we're talking about in the case of loss in transit. When transportation is happening, the goods might be lost from the consignee to the consignee when the goods are moving. What are the things that we have to consider to calculate this? First, we have to consider cost of the goods. We have to consider the cost of the goods, that is how much we incur to manufacture those goods, make those goods. That is known as cost of the goods. Directly, apportionable cost, whatever cost they are mentioned in the question, they give it in the question, you have to take that. And to this, what else should we add? Should we add anything, sir? Yes, we should add. What should we add? Because see, these goods, sorry, these goods have been loaded into the. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay. So we were discussing that when the goods were loaded, it's not just the cost that you have lost. You have also lost some. You have also incurred some expenses on these goods. So that is also lost. Like for example, now let us say Sudisha. Sudisha is from, let us assume she is from Kundapur. So Sudisha tells me, sir, can you send your accounts material? Okay, can you send accounts material? She asks me. I say okay. So what I do is I take a book which is worth, let us say 300 rupees. I take that book 300 rupees. I package it. I pack it. I incur 20 rupees while packing it, and I courier it. While I courier it, I incurred 80 rupees. Then total how much is the cost? I have incurred 300 plus 20 plus 80 rupees. Now I have incurred on sending this book to Sudisha. Sudisha doesn't receive the book for some reason. The goods are lost. The book is lost in transit. It gets lost because there is an accident in the for the the bus or the courier agency or whatever. There is, it is stolen or something has happened to those books. Some wrong person took the delivery of the book. So we have not got that book. Sudisha hasn't received that book. Now this is a loss. Can you tell me how much have we lost because of this? Is it just 300 rupees that is lost? Rupees that we've lost? No. I had incurred expenses on, let's say I had done book binding to it, or I told you two expenses already, that is packing 20 rupees plus transportation 80 rupees. So how much is the total loss I have incurred? I've incurred 400 rupees to send that book, and that is the loss. The amount of loss is 400. So even here, when the goods are being sent, the consigner will incur many expenses. The consigner will incur a lot kind of different kind of expenses relating to the goods. For example, loading the goods into the truck, packing those goods, transportation, freight of the goods. So all this is incurred. Now I have a question. If you don't transport those goods, is okay. Let's reframe this question. I'll reframe this question. Sir, is freight charges linked to number of units being sent, or is it independent? Is freight charges dependent on the number of units being sent, or is it independent? Dependent or independent? Dependent or independent? Dependent. Dependent, right? Freight charges will depend. They will look at how much units you're sending, how much you're transporting. Based on that, weight of the goods or number of units you're sending, it will depend on all that. So it is dependent. Is loading dependent? Is loading dependent? Yes, loading is also dependent. Loading charges means, I'm not talking about loading to the cost price, I'm talking about loading the goods into the truck. The coolie guys will take how much depending on how much goods they have loaded, yes or no? Dependent. Unloading, dependent. Insurance, you take insurance on the goods insurance. We call it as transit insurance. Is it dependent? Yes, it is dependent. Sir, what about the vehicle insurance? Vehicle insurance, you take vehicle insurance, right? Is that dependent? No, it's not. It's independent. I'm just discussing to give you a clarity about what is dependent and what is not dependent. Packing charges, is it dependent? Yes, packing charges is dependent. More the units, more the packing charges. So it is variable, it is linked. We call it as variable in costing, we call it as variable. So we have to add such expenses, consignor's expenses, proportionately, not fully, okay? How much ever goods we have lost, proportionately we have to add. How do we find out the proportion? Finding out the proportion is very simple. So it is consigner's expense into goods lost, that is units lost, divided by total units sent. You can write over here units lost divided by total units sent or units loaded by the consigner. So this is how we calculate the consigner's expenses. Proportionately, we have to apportion it. Should we apportion consignee's expenses on this? Should we apportion consignee's expenses on this? No. Consignee's expenses is not to be apportioned. Why? Because you lost it in transit. You lost it in transit. When it is in transportation only, you lost it. Has he received the goods? Has he received the goods? Has the consignee received the goods? No, he hasn't received the goods. He will incur expense only when he receives the goods. So here he has not incurred the expenses on such goods because it is not lost, because he's not received it yet. So that is why consignee's expense is not to be apportioned, only consigner's expenses is to be apportioned. And the total of these two things, that is cost of the goods and the consigner's expenses, the total is known as abnormal loss. Sir, is this completely to be booked as our loss? Is it completely our loss? No, it depends on the insurance. If insurance is being received, then insurance company will bear some of this loss. Sir, what about this? Loss in the consignees go down. How different is it? Slightly different compared to this. Okay, anyway. What is the difference between this and that? Here we have to take the cost of the goods. You've lost the cost of the goods also. Add same thing again, that is consigner's expense. Consigner's expense you have to add. You have to add the consigner's expense. Should you add the consignee's expense also? Yes, you have to add the consignee's expense also. Now, the interesting question over here is, sir, what consignee's expense is to be added? I'll give you some examples. You have to tell me which one is to be added and which one is not to be added. Ready? Which is to be considered and which is not to be considered. Clearing charges. Clearing charges means the goods will reach the godown of the transporter or the shipping business, shipping agent. So from there you have to clear the goods. Should you add it? Is this directly linked to the goods? Always remember, only directly linked expenses is to be added. Is this directly linked to the goods? Yes or no? It is directly linked to the goods, right? So you have to consider it. You have to consider it because it is directly linked. If your goods are lesser, will the amount of clearing charges also be lesser? Yes, it will be lesser. So we have to consider it. Unloading charges from the truck you're unloading. Is this directly linked? Yes, this is directly linked. Should you consider it? Yes, you have to consider it. Sir, warehousing rent, warehouse rent or warehousing charges. Is this directly linked to the goods? No, it's not. For example, you have a house, you have a TV in your house, or you have a mobile in your house. Can you tell me how many ever mobiles you can keep in that house generally? How many ever TVs you can keep? Can you say, I paid this much rent to keep my TV in that house? No. Same over here also. Consignee will keep his private goods also in that godown. It's not just us. It's not directly linked. But should I reimburse that expense to him? Yes, that is to be reimbursed. I'm just talking about the loss valuation. We are talking about loss valuation over here. I hope you are all understanding this. Whatever agreement is there, how much of warehousing charges I have to pay, that I have to pay him. But for apportionment of loss, we are not supposed to consider it. What about the insurance paid by him? What about the insurance paid by him? No. Again, he's not going to take. Is he going to take insurance on the goods? Do you think he's going to take insurance on the goods? No, it will be my insurance generally. I will take it. what is he going to take? What insurance is that? What insurance do they mention in the question generally? It is go down insurance. Now, the warehouse insurance or the go down insurance, is it linked? It is linked. Is it linked to the goods? No. It's just like vehicle insurance, right? Is vehicle insurance linked to the goods that you carry in the vehicle? You take car insurance, you take truck insurance. Is it linked to the goods that you're transporting? Every year you pay premium on your bike insurance and all, you pay premium. Is it linked to what you transport and that? No, it's not linked. It is for the bike or it is for the vehicle. So remember, consignee's direct expenses only is to be that is directly linked. Should you consider selling expenses? Consignee might incur some selling expenses. Should you consider that? No. Why? Because you haven't sold it, you have lost it. Selling expenses is incurred on the goods sold. Have you sold these goods? The answer is no. So again, selling expenses is not to be considered. This is not, it is not to be considered. If consignee is incurring selling expenses, not to be considered. I hope you all are following this. Then, should you consider advertisement charges or advertisement expenses of the consignee? Consignee is incurring some advertisement expenses for my goods. Should I consider that? The answer is no. Consignee is paying freight. Consignee is paying freight. To pay basis, we say. Consignee is paying freight. Should we consider this? The answer is yes, it is to be considered. Okay, freight is to be considered. In fact, freight is to be considered even for this. Even if consignee is paying, only rare cases that happens, but if consignee is paying freight, then even for transit, because he has paid no on transit only, so to consider freight in such cases. Whoever is paying the freight, we will consider it. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Valuation of abnormal loss, two types: lost in transit and loss in consignees go down. So we've discussed about two types over here. In the case of here, one's proportion we will discuss. What is the proportion? Units lost divided by what is the denominator over here? Is it total units sent? Is it total units sent? No, loading charges were discussed. No, Pawan, it is to be considered. No, it is total units received. Because he is going to spend amount on the units he's receiving. So if you have lost something in transit, you have to minus that. This is nothing but goods, goods sent minus abnormal loss, that is loss in transit. And also we have to minus from this goods still in transit. Goods still in transit. It is consignee's expenses, it will come there only, no Pawan. It will depend on who's paying it. So consigner's loading charges, consignee's unloading charges, everything will be incurred. What are you talking about? I did not understand, Pawan. Can you elaborate? So goods still in transit is to be minus. So basically how much of units we've received, that is to be considered with regards to the when we apportion the consignee's expenses. Consignor, Harsha. Okay, now can I go to the questions? Inventory valuation. Inventory valuation. What about inventory valuation? Valuation of inventories. Now there are two types of inventories again. When we are talking about inventories, there are two types of inventories. For the consignor, please pay attention. For the consignor, how many types of inventories are there? Two types. One, goods that are lying with the consignee. With the consignee. What should we consider for this? And second one is goods in transit, inventory in transit. That is, it's still in transit transportation. That is still in the truck. It has not yet reached the consignee. That is in transit. That is also consignor's goods only. That is also consignor's stock only. That is also to be considered. That is also consignment stock only. But it is still in transit. It is still in transit. Are you following? This is the goods which are there in the consignee's go down. This is the goods which are still in the truck. Now we have to value this. Let us first consider valuation of inventories in the case of consignees go down. Whatever goods are there in the consignees go down, we'll consider that. First, we have to take, always remember, what will be available to you? What is to be considered over here? Which document are you looking at when you're recording inventory? Which document are you looking at when you're recording inventory? You're looking at account sales. You're looking at account sales. In the account sales, what he would have mentioned, in the account sales, what he would have mentioned relating to the goods, he would have mentioned invoice price. If invoice price is there, if you had told him a dummy price, if you told him a fake price, he will mention that invoice price. If cost is there, then it will be cost price. If it is not, then it will be invoice price. So it will depend on what price you have mentioned to him. So you will consider that price. It is either invoice price or cost price of the goods. If invoice price is available, we have to consider the invoice price only for valuation of stock. Then we have to create a reserve also for that invoice price. Then what else should you add to this? You have to add same, just like how we discussed loss in the go down of the consignee, the same type here also, consignor's expenses to be added proportionately. And consignee's expense, should I add to this? Should I add the consignee's expense to this or not? I should add the consignee's expense. I have to add the consignee's dependent or direct expenses, right? This is to be added proportionately again to the inventory, to the number of units we have. What about the goods in transit? What should I consider in the case of goods in transit? First, I have to consider again the invoice price or the cost price of the goods. Should I add consignor's expenses? Yes, consignor's expenses proportionately we have to add. Should I add consignee's expenses? No, consignee's expenses not to be added. Why is consignee's expense not to be added? Because the consignee hasn't received it yet. It's still in the transit. It's still in the transportation. So consignee's expense is not to be added. Only thing with regards to freight on to-pay basis, there's something called as freight. In freight, there is something called as to-pay basis. Now, to-pay basis freight means whoever is paying the freight. To-pay basis, I'll tell you first. What is to-pay basis? To-pay basis means the person who's receiving the goods, no, he is going to pay the freight. You understand what is freight. What is freight? What do you mean by freight? What is freight? What rubbish answers are you giving? What is freight? Transportation charges is known as freight. Okay. It could be transportation charges, road transportation, shipping charges, air freight, anything it could be. Transportation charges is known as freight. Now, in freight, you might have noticed this. When you're sending something parcel, I'm sure you all have done this. When you give it to the bus guy, for parcel, you tell him, deliver it over there. Either you might pay the money to him when you're giving the goods to him, or you might tell him that you collect it from the recipient. The person who is receiving the goods, collect it from them. You might tell him like this also. Even when you're, in the case of you buy a bicycle, let's say you go and you buy a bicycle, and when he's transporting the bicycle, shop guy will tell, collect it from the person who is collecting the bicycle. Are you following this? This is known as to-pay basis. What is this known as? To-pay basis. When we are loading the goods, we are not paying the amount. The person who is receiving the goods will pay this amount. The freight will be paid by him. But sir, freight will be calculated on what? Will it be calculated on the basis of goods sent, goods loaded into the truck, or will it be on the goods received by the consignee? What do you think freight will be calculated on? It will be calculated on goods. Always it is on goods loaded, okay? It is always on the goods loaded. Goods loaded means goods put in the truck, goods put inside the truck. So that is what we mean by loading the goods into the truck. Okay, so whatever goods you're putting in the goods, that is goods sent by the consignor, is to be, on that only you have to calculate the freight. So just remember, whenever freight is to be added, be it loss in transit, be it loss stock in transit, freight is to be added no matter who's paying. There's one question on this, you can do it. It's there in my material. In this, I haven't put it, but it is there in the regular material, or it is there in the textbook also. I think ICI material, it is there. Just have a look once. To pay basis, it is simple. It is, you just have to calculate. You have to consider the freight charges every time. We will I will just look at that point. I'll calculate inventory probably the next doubt session. Today I think we have other questions to answer. Next doubt solving session we will have that, only the stock calculation I will do. Yes. Now shall we do the question number 1? On 1st January, Mr. Peter of Hyderabad consigned to Mr. Rakesh of Chandigarh goods for sales at invoice price. Mr. Rakesh, is invoice price involved over here? Is there invoice price over here? Yes, there's invoice price over here. Who's the consigner? Can you tell me who's the consigner? Peter is the consigner. Quick guys, quick. I want quick answers. Who's the consigner? Peter is the consigner. Who is the consignee? Who's the consignee? Rakesh is the consignee. Rakesh is entitled to a commission of 5% on sales at invoice price and 20% of any surplus realized. What is this 20% of any surplus realized? What do we call this as? 20% of any surplus realized? Overriding commission. Okay, it is known as overriding commission. Now, what have they said? He is entitled to two types of commission. One is 5% on sales at invoice price, not actual sales, it is sales at invoice price, and 20% of any surplus price realized. How to calculate this surplus? Actual sales, how do we calculate surplus? I've discussed this also, no? Just look at your notes. How do we calculate the surplus? Surplus is calculated actual sales minus sales at specified selling price. What is the sales at specified selling price over here? Can you tell me what is the specified selling price over here? They have said consigned to Mr. Rakesh of Chandigarh goods for sale at invoice price. So you asked him to sell it at what? Invoice price. So the invoice price itself is the specified selling price. So the consigner is telling the consignee, please sell the goods at invoice price. Now, if you are selling it at over and above the invoice price, whatever excess you are making, whatever surplus you are making, on that surplus, I will give you additional commission, and that additional commission will be at 20% of that surplus. That additional commission will be at 20% of that surplus, which is known as overriding commission. Goods costing 2 lakh were consigned to Chandigarh at invoice price of 3 lakh. Okay. Can you tell me what is this 2 lakh rupees? What is this known as? 2 lakh rupees is what? Cost price. What is this 3 lakh rupees? Invoice price. What is the difference between 3 lakh rupees and 2 lakh rupees known as? And how much is the amount? The amount is 1 lakh rupees. What is it known as? It is known as loading. It is known as loading. All right, wonderful. The direct expense of the consignment amounted to 20,000 rupees. An account sales was received. This is consigner's expenses. They have said consignment related expenses of, they have not mentioned consigner, but it is consigner expenses at the point of selling only he is incurring 20,000, at the point of sending the goods he is incurring. So 20,000 rupees is consigner's expenses. Now, the consignee is giving some details. What is the consignee giving? On 31st March, he has sent an account sales. In the account sales, he is going to mention some things. What are the things he's mentioned? He says that was received by Mr. Peter from Rakesh, showing that he had effected sales of 2,40,000 in respect of 4/5 of the quantity consigned to him, quantity of goods consigned to him. His actual expenses were 6,000 rupees. Now, sir, they have mentioned actual expenses. Is this direct expenses? Is it linked to the goods or is it not linked to the goods? How should we consider this, sir? You can consider it either ways, but give a note. But the best thing to do is consider it as linked expenses. That is direct expenses. Consider it as direct expenses. You must assume. This is an assumption. Even if you assume otherwise, it is not wrong. If you assume like this, Also it is not wrong. You can assume it either ways. So we will assume it for the sake of this question that it is directly linked. They have mentioned actual expenses. They have not given if it's direct or indirect. They have not mentioned anything. So it is based on an assumption. You can give that assumption. You can assume it as linked, or you can assume it as not linked. In the ICI textbook, they have mentioned that don't consider it. In one of the questions, I think they have mentioned it like that. But when you look at their solutions, only in some cases they have linked it. They have considered it, and in a couple of questions I've seen they have linked it. So what my advice would be is give a note. Whatever you're doing, give a note. If you're considering it as direct expenses or indirect expenses, just give a note, because it is subject to assumption. They have said actual expenses, that is the expense incurred by it is assumption. If you're assuming, it is assumption either ways. So it is not directly the data is not available if it's directly linked or not. So it's an assumption either ways. Mr. Rakesh accepted a bill drawn by Mr. Peter for 2 lakh and remitted the balance due in cash. Show the consignment account and the account of Mr. Rakesh in the books of Mr. Peter. Shall we start doing this problem? Yes. So, what are the accounts that we have to draw? Consignment account and Mr. Rakesh's account. Who is Mr. Rakesh? Rakesh is consignee. So this is in the books of Peter, right? Peter. In the books of Peter. Peter is what? Consigner. In the books of Peter, the consigner. Shall we start? Yes, generally how we write is when it is a consignment account, we don't write directly consignment. We write over here consignment with the party account, because we might have many consignments, right? We might have multiple consignments. Uh, during this, Mr. Peter might have a consignment with Rakesh, Rajesh, Ramesh. So many people he might have consignments with. So we generally write the party's name also. That is, in this case, who is the party? Rakesh account. Okay, the date column is not required. I'm sorry for this. The date column is not required because it is prepared on generally it is prepared on the date, end date, and also they have not mentioned any dates in our question. Only 31st March is mentioned. So date column is not required. Just have a particulars and amount column. Okay. In mine, it's a format, legit format. It is there for all the questions, so it will be like that. And not required even in the exams. Can we start? You don't draw it, you just draw. Even if you draw a date column, it will be empty. You can drop the date column and keep it in empty. Two goods sent on consignment. First, sir, what should we write? Invoice price or cost price? Invoice price is given in the question. That means we have to write the invoice price. How much is the invoice price? 3 lakh. As soon as you realize that it is invoice price, you have to pass an entry on the parallel side. On the other side, you have to pass an entry for what? To remove the loading. How much is the loading amount? 3 lakh minus 2 lakh. What is the loading amount? 1 lakh rupees. When I sent the goods, did I incur some expenses? The direct expenses of the consignment, 20,000. I incurred some expenses. Where should I record this? What should I record it over here as? What should I record it over here as? It's an expense, debit side. You have to record it as to cash or to bank. How much is the expense you're incurring? 20,000. Next, what have they said? On 31st March, an account sales was received by Mr. Peter from Mr. Rakesh. Account sales, and how much is the sales he's made? 2,40,000. So what should I record sales as? How should I record sales over here? By consignee's account. Who's the consignee over here? Rakesh. You're recording sales. It is income for you, which you are not receiving, but someone else is receiving 2,40,000 rupees. His actual expense were 6,000 rupees. So who is incurring this expense? Rakesh is incurring this expense. So I will write over here expense side to Rakesh account. How much is the expense? 6,000 rupees. Is everyone following this? Have you followed this much? Yes. Now moving ahead. They have said Mr. Rakesh accepted a bill drawn by Mr. Peter for 2 lakh. Will this come here in consignment account? Will that entry be recorded in the consignment account? No. It's bill receivable account debit to the party account, that is the consignee account in this case. It will not come over here. It will come in the Rakesh's account. What should I record? I have to record commission, right? We have to record commission at 5% on sales at invoice price and 20% of any surplus price realized. Can we have a note for this? Working note 1. In always remember, for consignment you have to do multiple working notes. So one is calculation of commission. Almost every time you will have to calculate commission. Unless it is only ordinary commission, you will have to need, if there is overriding commission or dedicated commission. Dedicated commission you can directly write, but sometimes you might need a working note. Okay, calculation of commission. Ordinary commission, what have they told for ordinary commission? First, we'll calculate the ordinary commission. 5% of sales at invoice price. Is this what they have told? 5% on sales at invoice price, they have told. It's not directly gross sales in this question. They have said sales at invoice price. Can you tell me how much is the total sales is made? What is the actual sales? 2,40,000 is the actual sales. What is the invoice price of these sales? Can someone tell me what is the invoice price of these sales? Has he sold whole goods? Has he sold all of the goods that I sent him? Answer this question. Has he sold all of the goods that we've sent him? No. Read the question. They have said he effected sales of 2 rupees 2,40,000 in respect of 4/5 of the quantity of the goods consigned to him. That means, what is the total invoice price of the goods sent to him? Given in the question, right? Invoice price of goods sent. How much is it? 3 lakh. What is the invoice price of the goods sold? 3 lakh into 4/5. How much is that? 2,40,000. So can you calculate ordinary commission? How much is ordinary commission? 2,40,000 into 5%, which is 12,000 rupees. Is this the only commission, or are you paying him some more commission? We are paying some more commission. What commission are we paying him? Overriding commission. We are also paying him overriding commission. How to calculate overriding commission? What have they given? Overriding commission is 20% of surplus. 20% of surplus. So now we have to calculate what is surplus. How to calculate surplus? Actual sales, that is how much actually he has sold, minus sales at SSP. Here, what is say SSP? What is SSP over here? Invoice price is the SSP over here. He was asked to sell at the invoice price itself. So the invoice price itself is the SSP. Can you tell me how much is the actual sales? 2,40,000. The actual sales amount is 2,40,000. How much is sales at SSP? That is sales at invoice price. He was sent 3 lakh worth goods. In that, he was able to sell only 4 by 5. So, what is sales at SSP? SSP in this case is what, sir? SSP in this case is invoice price itself, because we had asked him to sell at invoice price itself. So, 3 lakh into 4 by 5. Can you tell me how much is the surplus? Zero. Surplus is zero. So, overriding commission is also zero. Overriding commission is also zero. Now, very simple, sir. The facts of the question, they had said that we sent 3 lakh worth goods, invoice price of goods, 3 lakh, and we told him to sell at 3 lakh. 3 lakh we told him to sell it at. He was able to sell, and we also told him specified selling price is equal to invoice price. Yes, here selling price is also equal to invoice price. Correct. We had told him that if you're able to sell it at more than the invoice price, we will give you commission on such surplus that you make. But unfortunately, he was not able to sell it at any invoice additional price. He sold the goods at the invoice price itself. That means 3 lakh worth total goods were sent to him. He was able to sell 4/5 of those goods. 4 by 5 into 3 lakh is 2,40,000. So he sold 4/5 of the total goods consigned to him at exactly the invoice price, which is 2,40,000. So overriding commission is nil. Can you tell me what is the total commission? Total commission is 12,000 rupees, because there is no overriding commission, only the ordinary commission is the commission to be paid. So what should I write over here? 2 Rakesh, this is for commission. How much is the commission? 12,000 rupees. Sir, are we done? Are we done? Or is there anything more to be done? There's something more. There's one more thing to do. What is that? What is that one more thing to do? We have to record the closing stock also. We have to record the inventory also, the closing stock. Shall we do the inventory calculation? And also the reserve on that we have to calculate. Inventory reserve. Is inventory reserve there in this question? Should we record inventory reserve? Yes. Inventory reserve is to be recorded every time when there is loading. When there is loading, when there is invoice price and loading, we have to record inventory reserve also. Shall we calculate working note number 2? This is calculation or valuation of closing stock. Now, is this inventory, what inventory is this? In the go down of the consignee, or is it in transit? Go down, right? It is in the go down, it is with the consignee. So it is in the consignee's go down. So invoice price of the goods left in inventory or left in stock. How much is the total invoice price of the goods sent on consignment? 3 lakh. Into how much is left now? Can someone tell me how much is left? 4/5 is sold. 4/5 is sold. So how much is left? 1/5 is left. I hope you know how I got this 1/5. It is 1 minus 4 by 5, which is equal to how much is the invoice price of the goods? 60,000 rupees. Should I add something to this? Should I add something to this? Yes. What should we add? Consigner's expenses. How much is the consigner's expense? Total consignor's expenses 20,000 rupees. Into proportionately we have to add, yes or no? Into 1 by 5 or 4 by 5? What should I multiply it with? 1 by 5 or 4 by 5, guys? I have to multiply it with 1 by 5 because we are valuing stock, and in stock we have only 1/5. So 1 by 5 we have to multiply. 20,000 into 1 by 5, how much do you get it as? 4,000. Now about the consignee's expenses, I am repeating this again. Consignee's expense, they have not mentioned if it is direct, indirect or not. They have not mentioned. So whatever you are assuming, put a note for it. See note. We'll give a note saying that consignor's expense, consignee's expenses, actual expenses is assumed to be direct expenses. You can assume it either ways, as I mentioned, direct or indirect. But if you are in, you can assume it as indirect also. You can assume it as direct also. So it will be easy if we assume it as indirect, yeah, because you don't have to apportion in such cases. But now, if you are assuming it as direct, what should we do? How much is the expense? 6,000 into 1 by Shisha, 1 by what? 5. 1 by 5. How much is the amount? 1,200. The final answer will not be the same. What is the value of stock? 65,200. Can you tell me how much is the loading on the stock? What is the amount of loading on the stock? You can write over here, or you can write in the answer also later. Inventory reserve is equal to, what is the total loading? What is the total loading of the goods sent on consignment? Total loading, how much? How much is the total loading? Look at this. 1 lakh rupees, right? You've written it. Into how much goods is left? How much is the proportion of the goods left? 1 lakh into 1 by 5, which is it 20,000? Shakuntala Devi. Okay, 20,000. Now here also we will record that by inventory with consignee This is working note 2, right? How much is the inventory with consignee? 65,200. To inventory reserve, consignee's name you can write over here. What is his name? He has a name, right? Rakesh. Inventory reserve. This is also working note 2. Or you can directly calculate it over here instead of giving a reference. 1 lakh into 1 by 5, which is 20,000. Yes, you can consider it as indirect or selling expense also, Nikita. That's what I've been telling you. We gave a note also, no? Assuming that it is direct expense that is directly linked to the goods. If it is selling expense, it is indirect expense. We are assuming it as direct expense. Okay. Now, what is the total? Please tell me the total. 4,05,200 is the total. Is it profit or loss? Profit. So I'll write it on the debit side. I will transfer this to profit and loss account. How much is the profit? 47,200. 47,200. Consignee's account. What is the name of the consignee? Rakesh's account. So here, remember, this is an asset for me. Always think of it like an asset. Whatever I have to receive, I will debit it. Whatever I have to pay, I will credit it over here. Or you can do the posting also from the consignment account. You can do the posting also. So tell me now here, how much is the sales he made on my behalf to consignment? He's made some sales on my behalf, right? How much is that? You've written it in the consignment account. Look at it. 2,40,000. This is the amount I'm talking about, 2,40,000. And what has happened? What else has happened? He has incurred expenses on my behalf. Has he incurred any expenses on my behalf? Yes, he has incurred expenses on my behalf by consignment account. How much is the expense he has incurred? 6,000. Then what else? Just posting the entries, okay? I'm just posting these entries. This posted, or not this, sorry, this one. This posted, now post this also. This is for commission, by consignment account. How much is the commission? 12,000 rupees. Anything else? Should I record anything else? No. Now read the question once. What have they said? How is the settlement happening? There will be some balance, right? How is the settlement happening? You have to look at the question. If nothing is mentioned, balance carried down. Okay, by balance carried down you will write if nothing is mentioned. But here, have they told you about the settlement? Yes, they have told us about the settlement. What have they said? Mr. Rakesh accepted a bill drawn by Mr. Peter. So can you tell me, for me it is bills receivable or bills payable? I'm Peter. My name is Peter. For me, is it bills receivable or bills payable? Obviously it is bills receivable. It's bills receivable for me. So what is the entry for bills receivable? I will talk about bills of exchange later on. Bills receivable to Rakesh, right? Bills receivable to Rakesh. So Rakesh will be credited by bills receivable. This is basically settlement. How much is he paying? 2 lakh. Through the bill. Bill of exchange face value is 2 lakh. What about the rest of the amount? What have they said? And remitted the balance due in cash. Calculate the balance in the account. How much is the balance in this account, ledger account? 2,40,000. Is he going to remit 40,000 to me? Is he going to remit full 2,40,000 to me? The answer is no. You have to calculate the balance. How much is the balance? 22,000 rupees. Have you followed this? This is the balancing figure. The total is 2,40,000. Yes. Can I go to the next question? Yes or no? Not getting enough responses. Okay. Now, we shall go to the next problem. Let us read the next problem. Inventory reserve calculation. Did you understand? How did we calculate inventory reserve? Inventory reserve is basically loading amount, right? It is amount of loading. So how to calculate that? Total loading is 1 lakh. Loading on inventory we have to calculate. So 1/5 is still left in inventory. So 1 lakh into 1/5. Sure, what is this? Okay, now next question. Question number 2. Mr. Red of New Delhi purchased 15,000 pieces of saris at 100 per sari. Out of these, 9,000 saris were sent on consignment to Mr. Lo of Calcutta at the selling price of 120 per sari. The consignor paid 4,500 for packing and freight. Mr. Illo sold 7,500 saris at 125 per sari and incurred rupees 1,000 for selling expenses and remitted 7,50,000 to New Delhi on account. Mr. Illo is entitled to a commission of 5% on total sales plus a further commission of 20% of surplus price realized over invoice price. Can you tell me what is the SSP over here? Invoice price itself, they have mentioned over here at the selling price of, this is what is invoice price also, selling price of rupees 120 per sari. So 120 per sari is the invoice price. Okay, 5%, two types of commission, overriding commission and ordinary commission they have given. You are required to prepare consignment account in the books of Mr. Red and Mr. Red's account in the books of agent Mr. Ello. So can we start? Can we start doing the problem? Now what I will do is, first I will calculate some things and then we will go to the problem, shall we? You can do it either ways. We will write otherwise. We will stick to what we were doing. Okay, we'll write normally. What is it? Whose books? Whose books now? First consignor's books. In the books of, who is the consignor? Red is the consignor. In the books of Red, the consignor. Whose account is it? Oh, sorry. First one is consignment, right? Consignment with who? Green or yellow. I think there's a small mistake here. Is there green somewhere? Are you seeing green anywhere? No, right? Why are people telling green? It was actually green. I changed it to red and yellow. Okay, the original question which I had. A consignment with whom? Yellow. Last problem it was green. Is it? Which problem? Oh, depreciation. I don't remember. Okay. Now, okay. Shall we start? Consignment with yellow account. First, we have to record two goods sent on consignment. I'm going to write shortcuts now. You write full forms. This is only privilege if you cleared CA. Okay. Two goods sent on consignment. What is the invoice price of the goods sent on consignment? Is there an invoice price? Yes. Can you tell me what is the cost price? What is the invoice price? We did not discuss this. What is the cost price? 100 rupees is the cost price. What is the invoice price? They're selling at the selling price, means this is what is written in the invoice, the pro forma invoice. This is only to be considered as the invoice price also. How much is it? 120 per sari. Sir, are we sending 120 into 15,000 pieces, or should we see how much we consigned? How much did we consign? Did we consign all 15,000 saris? No. How much was consigned? 9,000 saris was consigned. So you have to multiply it with 9,000 saris. Okay, rupees 120 into 9,000. 10,80,000 is what I am getting. Popularly answered by you guys. 10,80,000. Are you comfortable with this? Understood this much? Is there loading? Is there loading on this? Yes. How much is the loading amount? Can you tell me? Per sari, how much is the loading? 20 per sari is the loading. Sir, how did you calculate? The invoice price is 120. The cost price is 100. The difference between invoice price and the cost price is known as loading, which is 20 rupees. Is my voice lagging? Rupees 20 into? No. Okay. 9,000 saris. How much is the answer? 1,80,000. Can you tell me what is the net debit you've given to this account? Net debit given to this account. 10 lakh 80 minus 1 lakh 80,000. How much is that? 9 lakh rupees. What is 9 lakh rupees? Cost. Cost is the is 9 lakh rupees. No, 100 into 9,000 saris. If you do, you will get it as 9 lakh only. Okay. Next, continue looking at the question. Consignor paid 4,500 for packing and freight. To cash. How much is it? To cash. I forgot. 4,500. Okay, to cash account 4,500. You can write in the brackets always the nature of the expense, consignor's expenses, for your clarity only. Because when you're calculating, the different calculations, be it inventory calculation, abnormal loss calculation, and all, it will be helpful if you're writing in the brackets. Okay. For packing and freight. Mr. Ello sold 7,500 saris at 125 per sari and incurred 1,000 for selling expenses and remitted 7,50,000 on account. Can you tell me what is the total sales amount? Sales amount, total sales amount. I will write over here by Ello. How much is the total sales amount? They have said how many units were sold. 7,500 saris were sold at what price? 125 per sari it was sold at. So, $9,37,500 is what you guys are telling me. 9,37,500. Then, has he incurred some expenses? Selling expenses was incurred by him. So what should you write over here? On the other side, you will write to LO account, LO's account, 1,000 rupees. What is remitted? What do you mean by remitted? Remitted means transferred, money transferred. Money remitting means money sent, transferred, given. That is what remitting means. And remitted rupees 7,50,000 to New Delhi on account. Now, should you record this in the consignment account? This is payment of amount. Is this coming in the consignment account? The answer is no. It is not going to come in the consignment account. Mr. Elo is entitled to a commission of 5% on total sales plus a further commission at 20% of surplus price realized over invoice price. Can we calculate the commission? Okay, commission calculation. Working note 1. Calculation of commission. How many types of commission do we have in this question? 2 types. What are the 2 types? Oh, one is ordinary commission. Ordinary commission, what have they said? What is the ordinary commission percentage they have told? Read it once. Don't make mistakes over here. Read it properly. Write it. Whatever you're seeing, write it clearly. 5% on total sales they have said. So 5% on total sales. Can you tell me what is the sales? Tolls? Okay, what is 5% on sales? Total sales. Can you tell me what is the sales amount? We have already written the sales amount, right? 5% into 9,37,500. How did I get it? I'll just write that computation also. 125 rupees into 7,500. What is that equal to? 46,875. Is everyone comfortable with this much? Have you followed this? Yes. What about the overriding commission now? Overriding commission. What have they told? How much on surplus? 20% on surplus. 20% on surplus. How to calculate surplus? Surplus is nothing but actual sales minus sales at SSP. Right? Actual sales minus sales at SSP. How much? You can also calculate sales price, actual sale price minus SSP here, 125 minus 5 rupees. You can do that also. But just to keep it consistent, I'm going to do it like this. So 7,500 into 125 minus 7,500 into rupees. What was the SSP? 120 rupees was the SSP. We sold 7,500 saris. I hope you're clear. You're understanding all this, whatever I'm calculating. So 7,500 into 125. Can you tell me the net amount? 37,500 is the surplus. So overriding commission is equal to 20% on 37,500 is equal to 7,500 rupees. Total commission is equal to 46,875 plus 7,500 is equal to 54,375. Is this correct? 54,375. Have we got this amount? Yes. I did not leave enough space for the working notes. Okay. I'm going to regret this. To LO's account, this is what? Commission. What working note was that? Working note 1. What was the amount? 54,375. Understood? Did you follow this much? Everyone? Yes or no? Can I get some reactions on the chat box? I'm feeling very alone. Yes, we asked them to sell it at 120. Correct. Yes. I always feel that I'm talking to myself, and here though I feel even more because there is no one whom I'm talking to. I'm looking at one empty screen and talking. It says that people are listening. I don't know if you're real people or if you're dummy people, you're robots. I have no idea what is happening on the other end. I'm just talking. I'm just hoping that you're listening. I hope you're real people. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, we should have a captcha. You should select a captcha and come and tell me if you're real or not. Fill some form. Now, is this it? No. Is there some inventory? Is there some stock left? How many sari stock? How many units are left? 9,000 saris were sent. How many saris were sold? 7,500 saris were sold. How many saris are still in stock? 1,500 saris are still in stock. Shall we value that stock? Yes, I think the space is enough. Okay, so working note number 2, valuation of closing stock or valuation of stock or inventory with the, who's the consignee? I'll write consignee over here. With consignee yellow, dirty fellow. Okay, so first we have to record. We have to record the invoice price or cost. Have they mentioned the invoice price in the question? Should we consider it at invoice price or should we consider the cost? First, invoice price, we will have to consider the valuation must happen at invoice price because he would have mentioned the invoice price in the document. What was the document? What is the name of the document he sent? Sales account, right? Sales account. Account sales, yeah. Account sales. In that document, he would have mentioned the invoice price. What is the invoice price per unit? 120 rupees was the invoice price. How many saris? Okay, I did not write that calculation. I hope you know how many saris are left. I'll just write over here. Units left in stock, 9,000 minus 7,500, which is equal to 1,500 saris. So 1,500. What is this amount? 1,80,000. Is there any expenses to be apportioned? Consigner's expense is to be apportioned because it's packing and freight. Consigner's expense is almost, I mean, it is to be apportioned every time because they give direct expense only. So 4,500 into 4,500 into, should you assign full 4,500? The answer is no. Proportionately, you have to assign. How to apportion it proportionately? How many units are left in stock? 1,500 divided by this 4,500 was spent on how many units? It was spent on how many units? 9,000 units, right? So 9,000 units. How much do you get the answer as? 750 rupees. Is everyone following this? Okay, wonderful. Then, is it it? Is that it? Because he had said 9,000 units, no? That is why 9,000 units is the denominator. Consignee's expense. Consignee's expense. Should I apportion consignee's expense? Someone asks me, sir, can you repeat 750? How did I get that 750, guys? How did I get that 750? The total consignor, see, when I'm talking about the value of inventory, we have to consider the expenses incurred on that stock also. Valuation of stock means we have to consider all the expenses incurred directly on that stock. Consignor has spent, how much is the total amount spent by the consignor? 4,500 rupees on packing and freight on such goods he has spent. So 4,500 into, but this was spent on only those closing stock units, is it? Was it so spent only on those closing stock units? No. It was spent on how many units? You can do the cross multiplication also for this one. It was spent on how many units? When he loaded, he spent this. How much? How many units did he load? Guys, are you with me? Why are you not answering? 9,000. Now you have to calculate. You have to calculate proportionately for how many units? 1,500. So on 9,000 units, he spent how much? 4,500 rupees. So you have to calculate how much he spent on 1,500 units. You can do it like this also, or you can do it like this proportionately. Directly, you can do 4,500 into 1,500 divided by 9,000. So that is how I calculated that 750. Now my question is, sir, should I apportion the consignee's expenses also? Consignee also has spent some 1,000 rupees on goods. Should I apportion this also? No. It is selling expense, na? What do you mean by selling expense? Can you give me some examples for selling expense? Selling expense means secondary packing, we call. For example, when you're buying some goods, they make some additional packing. They put it in one bag and give it to you. That is selling expense. Or sometimes when you're buying, it could be delivery charges also. Delivery charges also could be considered as selling expenses. Correct. Some gift wrapping you do, that is selling expense for us. Or advertisement is not selling expense. Advertising is not selling expense. Selling expense is directly linked to the goods units. When you're buying when you're buying a car, they generally have this practice of clicking a photo of you buying that car and framing it, and they will give it to you. They just want to make you feel nice. So what they do is, even bikes and all, when you buy, they cut a picture, click a picture of yours, and they frame it and give it to you. Or they might give cake cutting also. They might do some expense just to make you feel good. This is known as selling expenses. Are you following? This is linked to sales. So you incur it only at the point of sale. It is not advertising. It's not exactly advertising. Advertising is not at the point of sale. It is called as selling expenses for that only. It's not marketing. It is linked to sales. Salesman commission. Salesman commission is also, a selling expense. So in the showroom and all, you see these salesmen, they will get some commission based on the sales that they do. So that is also selling expense. Free helmet, full tank petrol, free insurance premium for 1 year, all that is selling expense. Free iPad, who gives free iPad? I want to know this. Okay. So this is about the point. So now my question is, selling expense, assign selling expenses? Should I assign selling expenses? No, sir. Why will you assign selling expenses on the goods not sold? Unsold stock, no, these are inventories, these are. So why will you assign the selling expenses for that? No, you should not assign those selling expenses on those. So you have to know, not assign it. So can you tell me what is the value of inventory? What is the value of inventory? 1,80,750. And can someone calculate and tell me what is the amount of inventory reserve? You can do it directly in the account only, but just for how many units are left? How many units are left? 1,500. What is the loading per unit? What is the loading per unit? Oh, beautiful people. What is the loading per unit? 5 rupees. What did you have after lunch? Not majjige, not you had something else. What did you have after lunch? What is the loading per unit? 20 rupees is the loading per unit. What 5 rupees? What 5 rupees? How will it be 5 rupees? Yeah. So it is, see, you send it at 20 rupees, right? The invoice price. What is loading? Loading is nothing but the difference between invoice price and the cost price. That is loading. So here loading is 20 rupees into 1,500. How much do you get it as? 30,000. I hope everyone has followed this. Rupees 20 per unit. Rupees 20 into 1,500. So that is equal to 30,000 rupees. Who are those who said 5 rupees? Come out and say hi. You're not going to say hi, no? Okay, write the inventory. Oh, okay, you have the guts to say hi. Okay. Oh, three of you. Wonderful. So buy inventory with. Did you understand why it is not 5 rupees? Stupid people. Inventory with consignee, which is yellow. Actually, what can you do? Good question. What can I do sitting over here? Working note number what? Working note number 2, is it? It was? 3 or 2? 2. So 1,87,50, and on the other side, 2 inventory reserve. What is the inventory reserve amount? This is also working note number 2, 30,000 rupees. You can calculate it directly over here itself. What is the total? Is it 12,98,250? 12,98,250. And what is the profit or loss? Is it profit or loss? Oh, 1,28,375 profit. Which will be transferred to profit and loss account. Are you clear on this? See, consignment is easy, right? What is difficult in this? Why do people struggle? You give me a reason. Why do people struggle in consignment? because probably the person was sleeping when I was discussing the detailed concepts. What is confusing? That, yeah, sometimes in a hurry, calculations might go wrong. That is correct. That might go wrong in any pro chapter. Okay. Thank you, Anusha. Yes. Should read the question properly. That's all. Now, whose account? Who is the consignee? Because you were sleeping. Correct. Who is the consignee? Rakesh, are you still in the previous problem? Hello is the consignee over here. Hello's account. People are acting really different today. Really different. I don't know what has happened. Wholesale. Yeah. They have not asked this actually. They have not asked this actually. Consignment account in the books of trade. They have not asked Hello's account in the problem. But we will do it. Shall we? We'll do some Adhika Prasanga. Shall we? They've asked the consignor's account in the consignee's books. That we will do next. So can you tell me the entries here? To consignment for sales. What is the sales? 9,37,500. Expenses incurred, write the expenses on the other side. By consignment, 1,000 rupees. Commission, how much is the commission? 54,375. Anything else? Cash paid. Some cash paid was there, is it? Something was there. We ignored it. I told you. Does it come over here? Yeah. So the 7,40,000. 7,40,000. Where will it? What is the entry? Am I receiving cash or am I paying cash? I am who? I am who? I am the consignor. I am red. I am the consignor. I am receiving cash or I am paying cash. I am receiving cash. So, not just Adarsh. If you have to take my name, you have to take my full name. What is my full name? What is my full name? It's not just Adarsh Shinoy. Okay. Okay. So, now, sir, what, sir? So much arrogance. You also clear your CA. You will also get arrogance. You will work so hard to get there, and you will be like, obviously, you have to call me a CA. I've earned it. Anyway, coming back to this, now we are receiving money. So bank account to cash account debit to. It can be cash or bank. You can write either of that. How much is the amount? 7,50,000. Yes. What about the balance? What about the balance? I think I've told you that. I don't know. Didn't mention that probably. But what happened was, okay, we'll finish this. Then I'll tell you. How much the balance? Now, what about the balance? Have they told that it was remitted? The balance was remitted, paid, or anything? Correct. So we do as balance carried down. So 10 totals, 937 would be the total. And balances by balance carried down. Can you tell me the nature of this balance? Debit balance or credit balance? Debit balance or credit balance? 130 to 125 is the balance. Is this debit or credit? It is debit balance. Is it an asset or liability for me? For yellow, red. For red, is it an asset or liability? For red, yellow is an asset. Yellow is an asset. He has debit balance. Now we will do the second part. They have asked this. This is not required to be done. Not required in exams. Don't do this. No. It's a personal account. We don't have to write. Now here you are required to prepare consignment in the books of Mr. Red and Mr. Red's account in the books of the agent Mr. Ello. So what should we write over here? A reg account in the books of Ello. So we have to write in the books of Ello. In the books of Ello. A reg account. This is consignee, okay? Ello is the consignee. Reg account. No, need not write anything else. Write like this. This is the personal account. Okay, first tell me what are the things we have to record. We will see first. Let's read the question. Mr. Red of New Delhi purchased 50,000 pieces. Saris at 100 per sari. Should you record this? Yes or no? Quickly. Yes or no? You have to keep on telling me. Yes or no? No. Out of these 9,000 saris were sent on consignment to Mr. Ello. When the saris are sent on consignment, should I record this? No. It's like sending, it's like taking your goods to the rented place, keeping it in the landlord. Will the landlord pass the entry in his books? No, the landlord will not pass entry. So should I pass an entry? No, for this. Only transfer of possession is happening, ownership is not transferred, so don't pass this entry. The consignor paid 4,500 for packing and freight. Should we record this? No. The consignor is paying from his pocket. How does it impact me? So it is not going to come in the account. In my books, I am the consignee now. Please think of yourself as the consignee. Mr. Ello sold 7,500 saris at 125 per sari. Is this going to appear? Yes, I am going to receive money. Is this my money? No, this is not my money. This is whose money? This is the consignor's money. Who's the consignor here? Red is the consignor. So what is the entry for this? Cash account debit to Red's account. Cash account debit, cash or bank account debit to Red's account. Red is to be credited because this is Red's money. I have an obligation to pay this money back to Red. So this is by cash or bank. You can write, we'll be consistent, we'll write bank only over here. You can write either, okay. How much is the amount? 9,37,500. In fact, they have not mentioned if it is cash sale or credit sale. So you can also write debtors over here. You can put a slash and write debtors also. Can I go to the next point? What is it next? I'd incur 1,000 for selling expense and remitted 7,50,000. Both of these entries will appear over here. I'm paying an expense, his expense, my expense or his expense? His expense. So what is the entry when I pay his expense? Entry is Red's account debit to cash or bank. Please tell me the amount. 1,000. 1,000. Then we are remitting some money, right? We are remitting some money. What is the amount when we are remitting? We're transferring some money. $7,50,000. Before that, we did not record one thing. Commission. Commission is to be recorded. No, you can write that also. No problem. To bank, how much did we remit? 7,50,000. Okay. Commission. What is the entry for commission? Consignor's account debit to commission account. Commission account is to be credited. It is an income for me. So it is receivable from the Red, from Red. So to commission account. How much is the commission receivable? We have already calculated it. Working note number 1. 54,375. 54,375. Can you calculate the balance in this account? Consignee's expenses recorded 1,000 rupees. What is the balance? Is it to or by balance? To balance carried down. It's credit balance, right? How much is the balance? 132, 125. See, if you notice, the balances are same. That's why I drew up that account just to show you this. The balances will be same. For me, it is a for consignee. For consignee, is it a liability? What is the nature of the balance you told me? Credit or debit balance you told me? Credit balance you told me. Credit balance means liability or asset. It's a liability for me. For him, for the consigner, what am I? For him, I'm an asset. So the amount will be the same in both our books, just the nature will be different. Just like BRS, passbook and cash book. Same way, same logic over here also. It is the same. Okay, next one is a good problem, comprehensive problem. Shall we discuss the next problem? I was going to say something. I have mentioned it, I think. Chartered accountants are very, very obsessed with this term CA. Not just chartered accountants, I think all professionals, even doctors, I see that obsession, with the term. So, doctors, CAs, generally, especially, I have seen in my profession that we love to be called CAs. Every chance where you can poke that in, we put it very proudly. IAS is probably, yeah. I was thinking yesterday, if someone is talking to you, not new now, it's been 2 years, but it's I've been around 2 years. But initially when I qualified as a chartered accountant, I would wait for people to ask, "What are you doing?" What are you? I would wait for people to ask. Even today, actually, shamelessly, I'm telling you this. I actually love answering that question. When people come and ask you, what are you doing? What are you doing in life? What are you? People come and ask, no, what have you studied? And that too, I look like a kid to many. They come and ask me, what are you studying? What are you studying? They come and ask me like that. When they ask me like that, I'll wait for people to ask me that question. I'm being very honest. I'm being very honest. I wait for people to ask me that because we are very, very proud chartered accountants. Even I'm sure as a student also, I used to be very proud to say that I'm a CA student. As a student also, I used to have that lot of pride to say, that I am a CA student. Pride you will get once you qualify. So that's what I'm trying to, tell you. Imagine once you qualify, once you become chartered accountant, after putting so much efforts and working so hard, making that uh, transition. So that is a different feeling. So you are working hard for that, yeah. You're not working hard for money and all that. At the end of the day, that satisfaction will come in your life once you become a CA. When I look at some of my friends who have not yet qualified, I'll tell you honestly, I feel very scared and I feel very worried for them. I always wonder, what if I was in their position? How will I be feeling? That kind of thing will come. But then I tell myself, once they qualify, they will know how much worth it is. So for you also, I would say the same thing. Don't worry, there will be some moments wherein you might doubt yourself and you find it a little difficult here and there, but never think of quitting. Never think of quitting. Whatever this course is, it's a beautiful course. It's a really beautiful course, and I mean it when I say it. I'm not selling it to you, right? Because you've already chosen it. I'm not selling it to you. I'm telling you honestly. I'm telling you, what this course is. As a senior, as someone who's seen this from close quarters and been there, been on both the sides, have failed, have passed, qualified. So that is something else. The feeling, and this feeling you can carry for the next 30-40 years, man. That is what I told the day I qualified. I told myself this. I was telling myself this, boss, you're a CA for the rest of your life. How many years you're going to live? You're going to be a chartered accountant. You can use that tag without even without even thinking of anything. No more exams, nothing. You're a chartered accountant. That's the kind of feeling you get. So every level there will be that level of satisfaction for sure. So when you clear CA foundation, I remember when I cleared CA CPT, I went and watched that movie Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara with my friends. We just wanted to remember that day somehow, so we had to do something. So we went and watched the movie. But what I'm telling you is, it is a great moment clearing any level in this course, because every level takes you closer to that degree. It takes you closer to that qualification. So work hard. Don't think too much about anything. Don't just have one goal in mind, and remember, of course, it's not going to be easy. No one told you that it's going to be easy. It has to be difficult, but at the same time, as I mentioned, I keep saying this because every time people feel bad or people feel sad, you should let yourself know that it's worth it. There is something at the end of the tunnel. That is what you should know. You should think of. Yesterday again I was talking to one of the students. Someone had called. One of my students had called. So when I was talking to when I was talking to that student, I was telling that in CA there is this problem of not having mentors. I did not have a mentor. I did not have a person to guide me at every time, at every point of time. I would call someone or I would talk to someone. I did not have anyone because how many CAs do you know? How many CAs, started accountants, do you know? It's probably in single digits, right? It cannot be more than, it cannot be in double digits at all. It is either one, it is minimum one, you know me. You know me, it's minimum one. So the numbers are very less. But count on the number of engineers you know. Count on the number of engineers you know. Probably your cousins, every family, every cousin will be a engine. There will be engineers around you. So the thing is, there is a lack of guidance will be there at every level. So this is what the problem is. We think we know what it takes to pass. We think we know what it takes to pass, but that bubble is busted the day you get your results. When you're writing your exams, this is what I see in many students. When I tell them, attend the crash course, it's good, write the mock test, it's good. People say, no, sir, I will study on my own. I don't want to waste time. I was like, you don't know what it takes to clear these exams. That's what I'm telling. Sometimes we have to accept that fact. We should not act over smart. Right? We should not think of, I know everything. I'll clear these exams. You don't know what a CA like. If it was like that, 95% or 90, more than 95% of them wouldn't have failed in these exams so far, historically. If people knew how to pass these exams, it wouldn't have happened. So I'm telling you, don't take decisions on your own. Don't take decisions on your own. Even if you're taking decisions on your own, consult a couple of people who know about it. Either your seniors who cleared, the seniors who passed the exams, talk to them, or listen to people. Here we are not just teachers. Remember that. I'm not just a teacher over here. My responsibility is not just as a teacher. My responsibility is as a mentor also, is as a guide also, because I know you don't have a college, you don't have, for CA alone, you don't have an institution which can tell you that this is how it is done. So as an academy, even at the academy backend team also, it is not just about, we're not just here to teach or just deliver the product. We are also telling you what it takes to get there, what it takes to get there. So you just have to trust. If someone is saying you have to write mock test, you have to write mock test to clear. Don't be over smart, and you will realize that mistake. When you don't get your results your way, when the results don't come your way, many people tell that I will study on my own. I have not finished studying. What I will do attending the classes, what I will do writing the mock test. This is the kind of attitude many of us have. I will study. I will read the same chapter. What he's doing, I'll read and all that. If you actually can do it, good, you do it. I mean, if you have that level of you understood everything in the original classes, or you did self study and you understood everything, all that is fine. But in most cases, that is not true. In 99% of the cases, it's just being overconfident. It is just being, taking a wrong decision. I have myself taken decisions like those. I'm not saying, we are all prone to errors. We've all made mistakes. I have also made mistakes like that. So I have learned my lessons with those mistakes. Especially in this course, there is no clear path, there is no clear direction, there are no enough people to guide us and all that. There is an issue with this. So we end up taking bad decisions, we end up regretting. But my only fear is, it shouldn't be too late. When you realize that it was a mistake, it shouldn't be too late. So don't take that decision. So in fact, in spite of, you might have a query like this: in spite of writing all the mock tests, in spite of attending all the crash courses, I've still failed, sir. I've attended two times, I've still not cleared. I in fact got a question now, so I've still not cleared. What do you think this, well, why is this happening, sir? Why is this, what is the reason? See, sometimes it's, at the end of the day, we should just focus on our efforts. It is not just about attending the crash course. It's not just about writing the mock test. I'm not saying that is all it is. You should also work on your own. Just listening. If everyone who could write mock test, we all can write mock tests, right? We can all register for mock tests. We can all come and sit in the class and we can all listen to it. But unless and until we put our efforts on our own, this is, remember, majorly a self-study course. Foundation level, if you do what is done in the class properly at home, if you revise and all that, you can clear CA foundation. But deeper you go into the course, it'll become more and more self-study kind of a course. So it is on you. The onus is on you. You have to study it the right way. Probably you were not studying it the right way. Probably you're just looking at the questions, remembering the answers and going to the exam hall. That's, I mean, it can depend on many factors. It can also be sometimes, because of a lack of strong mindset or lack of the right mindset. It can happen, has happened with me. You should not give up. You should not think too much on it. You should just focus now on what to do, what is the future, how should I focus on the coming exams, how much time do I have, what is my weakness, what is my strength. Focus on that and then start preparing again afresh. Do not keep that trial in your mind. Learn from your mistakes you've done. Learn lessons from those mistakes you've done. But do not judge yourself based on that mistakes. Okay? Do not judge yourself based on those mistakes. You're not those mistakes. You have learned from those mistakes. Remember, you're not the same person who made those mistakes. You have learned now. You have come through that mistake. You have grown through that mistake. So you're not the same person who had made that mistake. You have changed. You have become a different person. Recognize that and work hard now. So you do not worry about anything now. You just focus on what is there in the content. So what do you say about the people who want to quit CA? So just keep going, keep working hard. Just keep going. It's worth it. It's worth it. Naresh consigns 1000 bahts costing rupees 500 to Swaroop for sales and incurs 4000 towards freight. Solid question. Solid question. Now I have a small suggestion. If you guys agree to it, can I do the working notes first? Okay, that was first thing. Second one, can you do the consignment account on your own? If I tell you all the numbers where to put in and all. If I calculate commission in the class, if we calculate, the inventory valuation, that is the second question. No, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll see how much time we have. Okay, Naresh consigns 1000 bahts costing rupees 500 each to Swaroop for sales and incurs rupees 4000 towards freight and rupees 1000 for insurance. Sir, can we write working note first in the exams? Yes, you can. And 1000 for insurance, incurs 4000 towards freight. And first tell me, who is the consigner? Who is the consigner? Neeresh is the consigner. Who is the consignee? Swaroop is the consignee. What is this expenditure? 4000 rupees is towards freight. Who incurred this expenditure of 4000 rupees? Neeresh, the consigner, incurred these expenses. And insurance also is incurred 1000 rupees. Can you tell me, are both of these direct expenses? Yes, both of these are direct expenses. Remember, all the consigner's expenses is direct expenses. It is relating to the goods only. They will give relating to the goods only. So both of it is considered as direct expenses. Swaroop was able to take delivery of 900 bahts only. 100 bahts were destroyed in transit. What is this 100 bahts destroyed in transit? Abnormal loss. Abnormal loss. Sir, what is this insurance? This insurance is relating to the goods. You take insurance relating to the goods, right? It is not vehicle insurance. It is not anything else. It is insurance relating to the goods. So that is why it is directly related to the goods only. Okay. Swarup was able to take 100 bahts for lost in transit. Insurance company admitted a claim of rupees 42,000. Swarup will be entitled to a commission of 5%. 2% delicate commission question to calculate it on credit sales only. There is lag. Okay. He will be entitled for 25% of. Okay. Now is it clear? Yeah. He is entitled to 25% of the excess if the sale price exceeds the cost price by more than 20%. Aha. Wonderful. Now, my question is there an invoice price in this question? Can you just read the first part? Is there an invoice price given in the question? The answer is no. What it was sent at? It was sent at the cost price itself. Okay, the goods were sent at cost price itself. So we have to record at cost price itself. So I think I'll do the consignment account also because it's easy. So this is 2 goods sent on consignment. I'll just write roughly. Can you tell me how much is the cost price of the goods sent on consignment? 500 rupees into how many bahts? 1000 bahts. 500 rupees into 1000 bahts. How much is it? 5 lakh. Sir, will buy goods sent on consignment? Will this come? Will this come? No. This will come only when there is what? Invoice price. Only when there is loading. Okay. Then towards sales expenses. Now what have they said is he will be entitled to 25%. First they have said 5% on sales, 2% on credit sales, 25% of the excess if the sales price exceeds the cost price by more than 20%. Can you tell me what are the kinds of commission he is getting over here? What are the kinds of commission he is getting over here? He is getting all 3 types of commission: ordinary commission, delicate commission. Also, he is going to get overriding commission. Can I calculate the commission part over here? Working note 1, calculation of commission. What is the ordinary commission rule they have said? Ordinary commission is equal to 5% on sales. 5% on sales, right? That's what they mentioned, I think. See, 5% on sales. Yes, 5% on sales. Now, what is the sales? The sales is as under 500 bahts at 600 per baht each, 200 bahts at 700 per baht each. Can you calculate the sales amount also? How many bahts have been sold total? 700 bahts have been sold, right? 500 bahts and 200 bahts. Total how many bahts have been sold? 700 bahts have been sold. So can you calculate sales amount? Sales is equal to 500 into what? 500 bahts into 600 rupees plus 200 into 200 bahts into 700 rupees. So total sales is how much? 4,40,000. Is this correct? Is total sales 4,40,000? Yes. Can you tell me what is the ordinary commission? OC, ordinary commission is 4,40,000 into 5%, 22,000 rupees. 22,000 rupees. What about delicate commission? What is the rule in for delicate commission they have mentioned? 2% on, is it something like 2% or 5%? Yeah, it is 2% on credit sales only. Can you tell me how much is credit sales? Read the sales data given in the question. They said 200 bahts at 700 per baht credit. So how much is the credit sales? The credit sale is 700 rupees into 200 bahts, which is 2% on credit sales is the condition. So 2% into, I will write in brackets only here, 200 bahts into 700 rupees, which is 2,800. Is this correct? Yes. Then they have said overriding commission also. Overriding commission is also paid. Now, can you tell me what is the condition for overriding commission? Shall we read the question? Careful, guys, attention, please. I want your attention for this one. He will be entitled of 25% of the excess of the sales if the sales price exceeds the cost price by more than 20%. Can you tell me what is SSP over here? Have they told me what is SSP? Look at this. They are saying overriding commission is 25% of the excess if the sales price exceeds the cost price by more than 20%. What is the cost price? Can you tell me cost price? What is the cost price of these bats? Each bat cost price is how much? 500. What is the specified selling price? Is it 500 only, or is there some condition? He's saying, I'll read the sentence again. I will please pay attention to this English sentence. It's an English sentence, okay? It's an English sentence. What is the English sentence saying? He will be entitled of 25% of the excess if the sale price exceeds the cost price by more than 20%. That means I will tell in Asan Bhasha, easy language, you will get this overriding commission if the selling price exceeds the cost price by 20%. What is it? 500 plus 20%. How much is the amount you get? 600 rupees. 500 plus 20% you have to do, 20% you have to do, so 600 rupees. 600 rupees is the specified selling price. 600 rupees is what, sir? We are asking him to sell it at 600 rupees. That is the specified selling price. Understood? Yes or no? Yes. Now, can you tell me? We will write the condition over here, 25% on surplus. Surplus is equal to, please pay attention when I write it now. Surplus is equal to actual sales minus sales at SSP. SSP is nothing but 20% plus cost price. Cost price plus 20%. Chandan, read the whole sentence, boy. That is cost price plus 20%. Now, actual sales, how much is the actual sales price calculation? Have we done the calculation? Actual sales is 4,40,000 minus sales at SSP. I'll put it in the brackets. How many bats were sold? How many total bats were sold? 500 plus 200 bats were sold into, what is the cost price? 500 rupees plus 20%. So this is the SSP. Can you tell me what is the answer you get? Is it 20,000 rupees? $700 into 600, how much is 700 into 600? 4,20,000, right? Yes, 4,40,000 minus 4,20,000, you will get it as 20,000. So how much is the total commission? What is the total commission? Oh, sorry. Overriding commission. This is surplus. Sorry, this is surplus. Overriding commission is 20% on surplus, 25% on surplus, right? So how much is overriding commission? 25% on surplus, 5,000 rupees. So could you tell me what is the total commission now? Total commission. We have three commission. What was the ordinary commission? How much is the amount of ordinary commission? 25, 22,000 was ordinary commission. How much is delicate commission? 2,800 was delicate commission. How much was overriding commission? 5,000. Total commission is how much? 29,800. Sir, that overriding commission, can you explain again, sir? Yes, sir, I can do that. What have they said is, see, I'll read the commission sentences once more. Swarup will be entitled to a commission of 5% on sales. We have calculated this. This is this is ordinary commission. 2% del credit commission on credit sales only. We calculated this. In addition to this, he will be entitled to 25% of excess if the sale price exceeds the cost price by more than 20%. What is the excess of 20? If you add 20% to the cost price, what is the answer we get? If you add 20% to the cost price, what is the cost price? DP, what is the cost price? 500. Take a calculator. 500 plus 20%. How much do you get? 600 rupees. They have not mentioned 600 directly, but they have said cost plus 20%. They have told that, right? So that is how I calculated. I wrote it over here also like that only. 500 plus 20%. So that is 600. Calculation. Yes. Next. Yes, if it exceeds 20 of the cost price, I don't know how to explain this English sentence now. Of the excess, if the sale price exceeds the cost price by more than 20%, that means if your selling price, if your actual sales price is more than 20% plus cost price, then you have to whatever additional amount is there, that is surplus, that is excess. Are you following? Now here in this case, look at this. Basically 600 rupees. Why doing 700 into 600? That is because sales at specified selling price. We sold 700 bats. 700 bats. The specified selling price is 600 rupees. 700 into 600. Total sales price. You can also do it directly. You can calculate it directly also. Here, how many bats were sold at excess? Can you tell me how many bats were sold at more than 600 rupees? How many bats were sold for more than 600 rupees? 200 bats were sold. So 200 into if you do, what was the commission? What was the commission? 200 bats were sold into 100 rupees was the excess. So 200 into 100 rupees excess, how much do you get? 20,000. You can calculate that excess, that surplus directly by multiplying 200 into 100. So like that also you can do. 20,000 surplus you get on that 5% commission. Okay, if you did not understand that, please remember, by heart it and go. If you're not able to follow that English sentence, just by heart it and go. What should you do? Cost price plus 20% you have to add. That's all. Okay. Now, coming back to this, they have mentioned, we will record stuff over here. Quickly tell me, what is the amount that I have paid? What is the consignor's expense to cash account? How much is the consignor's expense? 5,000. What is the consignee's expense? Has consignee spent some money? Yes. Is it, who is the consignee? Swarup. Is it direct expense or is it indirect expense? What is that expense towards? See this, consignor spends 4,000 plus 1,000, 5,000 rupees total expense consignor is spending. So 5,000 rupees we wrote to consignors to cash account, 5,000 rupees. Then here there was, the consignee spent 2,000 rupees towards selling expenses. So it is indirect expense, 2000 rupees towards selling expenses. All right, understood this much? Did you follow this? We recorded it. Now commission also we will record. What is the commission amount? 29,800. 29,800. Okay, now let's go on to the next one. Sales, we have recorded, right? Have we recorded sales? No. Buy, how much is the sales? By Swaroop? 4,40,000 already calculated, right? You have already calculated this many times before, so 4,40,000. Now value the loss. Is there some abnormal loss? How much is the abnormal loss? 100 bahts we have lost. So we have to value the abnormal loss. Can you tell me how to value this abnormal loss? First we have to consider the cost. Is it only the cost? Or should we apportion some expenses to it? We have to apportion some expenses to it also. What expenses to apportion? Direct expenses is to be apportioned. Now when I say direct expenses, should I apportion consignor's expenses? Yes. Should I apportion consignee's direct expenses? It is not there in the question, but if it was there, should I apportion consignee's expenses? No, we should not. Why? Because these goods were lost in transit. The goods were lost in transit. In the case of goods lost in transit, should you proportionately apportion the consignee's expenses? The answer is no. Okay, calculation of loss, abnormal loss. Cost of the goods lost. How much? How many bahts were lost? First write that. Bahts lost is 100. Cost of the goods, each baht was 100 into 500 rupees, which is 50,000. Add expenses, proportionate expenses. First, we will add consignors. Consignors is not to be added because it is lost in transit. Okay. Consignors, how much is the total consignors expenses is incurred? 4,000 plus 1,000 is incurred, total 5,000. Should you apportion all of that 5,000 rupees? No. Now, we have to apportion it for how many bahts were lost? How many bahts were lost? Guys, how many bahts were lost? 100 bahts. This was incurred, this 5,000 rupees was incurred on how many bahts? How many bahts did he send? 1,000. Right? It is like this. He had spent this on 1,000. Cross multiplication, if you want to do, 5,000 rupees he had spent. Now we have to calculate how much done. We did it directly. 5,100 by 1,000. How much is the answer? 500 rupees. Could someone tell me what is the total loss? Consignee's expense we're not going to assign. Here the loss amount is, will not call it as loss, will not call it anything, because is there an insurance company? Is insurance company paying you something? Yes, insurance claim is there, no? So that whole amount is not your loss. There is insurance claim. How much is the insurance claim? 42,000 rupees. What is your loss then? What is your loss? 8,500. Where should you transfer this loss? Loss transfer to P&L. Can we post entries relating to this in our book, in our consignment account? Can we pass entries? Which side will we record abnormal loss? I discussed this concept in the morning. Which side do we record abnormal loss? Credit side. So here I will write, is it partly insurance company, partly we should bear it? Is it like that? Or is it whole insurance company is only bearing it? Is it like that? No, right? It is partly. So when it is partly, I told you, both of it will come over here by insurance company. How much is insurance company paying you? What is the claim amount? 42,000. It's not 50-50. 50-50 means half-half. By, and some is our loss also. So by profit and loss account, how much is the loss that we are bearing? 8,500. Are you clear on this? Did you understand this? Yes. Okay. Then there are debtors. Consignment debtors pay their debtors except debtor balance, except one customer to whom four bats were sold at 2,800 could pay only 800. Yes, I reduced insurance, no? Like this only I recorded it to consider my loss. Okay. Now, 2,800. How much is the bad debt amount? Can you tell me how much is the bad debt amount over here? The bad debt amount is? The bad debt amount is? I think there is a lag. How much is the bad debt amount? Yes. How much is the bad debt amount? The bad debt amount is 2,000 rupees. The bad debt amount is 2,000 rupees. Look at this. To 4,000 to a person, we had sold four bats were sold at 2,800. Now, don't think of this as 2,800 boys and girls. It's 2,800 each. Four bats were sold. How much did we sell on credit when we were selling? 700 rupees was the pricing, right? On credit. 700 into 4 bats you do, you will get that 2,800. Yes or no? 700 into 4 bats, if you do, will you get it as 2,800? Yes. Don't multiply 2,800 into 4 bats. What is this nonsense? What are you doing? It is 4 bats at 700 rupees each. The total is 2,800. How much did he pay out of the 2,800? 800 rupees he paid. Can you tell me how much is the bad now? How much is the amount of bad debt loss? $2,000 is the bad debt loss. Now, should we record that bad debt as a consigner? Should I record that bad debt in my book? Why? Why not? Why are you saying not to record it? Is it my loss? It's not my loss. Why? Why is it not my loss? Because I have paid del creditor commission. Wonderful. So what should I do about it? What should the consigner do about it? Ignore the bad debt loss. Just ignore the bad debt loss. Do nothing about it. Do not pass any entry for it. Just ignore that bad debt loss. We are not supposed to record it at all. Okay. So that 2,000 rupees bad debt is not to be recorded. Understood? Understood this much? Now shall we value the inventory? Valuation of inventory. How many stock goods are left? How many units are left? Only 200. How 200? We had sent 1,000. He sold 700 bats. Why are you saying 200? 300, no? Very good. 100 bats were lost. 100 bats were lost. Remember that. So, valuation of inventory, units in stock is equal to units in stock is equal to units sent minus units lost minus units sold. So how many units were sent? 1,000 units were sent. How many units were lost? 100 units were lost. How many units were sold? 500 plus 200, right? Total units sold were 700 units. So total units left is how much? 200 units is left. So we have to value 200 units. Now, when we value the stock, can you tell me what and all should I consider? Is the invoice price given in the question? Is the invoice price given in the question? No. If invoice price is not given in the question, what should I consider? Cost price. Can you tell me what is the cost price? 500 rupees is the cost price into 200 units. That is equal to 1 lakh. Is this it, or should I apportion something to this? I should apportion consigner's expense. Can you tell me how much is the total consigner's expense? 5,000 rupees. This was spent on how many goods? How many units did he spend this on? 1,000 units. Sorry. He spent this on 1,000 units. First write the denominator like this, 1,000 units. How much is the units that we are valuing? Apportion is to units. How many units should we apportion it to? We have to apportion it to 200 units. You can do the cross multiplication also. On 1,000 units, we spend 5,000. On 200 units, how much? You can cross multiply and you can find out also. You will get the same answer. How much do you get it as? 1,000. So could you tell me, should we assign even the consignee's expenses? Is consignee's expenses to be assigned? No. Why not? Why not? Because it is selling expenses indirect. That is why it is not to be assigned. So could you tell me what is the value of the stock? 1,01,000. Reserve? No, there is no inventory reserve also. Why is there no inventory reserve? Because there is no loading. There is no loading, so no inventory reserve. To stock with, who's the consignee? Who's the consignee? Why stock with? Red, yellow, green. Swaroop. How? Okay. He's got a name. Swaroop. 1,01,000. Have we entered everything now? Have we entered everything? Yes. Could you please tell me what is the answer? The total is how much? The total is 5,91,500 is the total. Is that correct? What is the profit or loss? What is it? Profit or loss? Credit side is more or debit side is more? Credit side is more. Okay, 54,700. This is profit transferred to P&L account. Wonderful. I'll stop over here. In the books of consignee, we'll do in tomorrow's class. Try and come. Can you do it in the books of consignee? They have books also. Try it. Tomorrow we will discuss it. There are a couple of homework problems. Try the homework problems and come to the class. I want to discuss some inventory valuation and all in that, which I will discuss tomorrow. But I want you to try and come. Okay. Please try it and come. And today you have a doubt session in the evening. We will discuss the questions relating to the previous chapters, that is depreciation and what is the other chapter? BRS. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the session. So dear students, once again, a reminder, please register yourselves if you haven't registered yet for the crash course. So already few links have been sent to your groups. Please do that. The present batch students, you need not register. And then there will be a doubt clearing session at 8 p.m. So please log in and make the best use of this session. So now it's done for the day. Take a break, refresh yourselves, and see you again at 8 p.m. Thank you, students. See you all tomorrow.